The Day Billy Fell Off the Cliff by Byron Broussard. The Day Billy Fell Off the Cliff, Part 14. Me was sitting on the cool light ground, smiling light at Billy. You look strange in this flaming room with your rainbow outfit and your lack of flames. He paused and turned around to face the door. Maybe it's because of the low ceilings. Billy raised his sword. You ever think of trying to appear more presentable? Like at least adding some flames to your body? He asked me inside of his head. The flaming beast began to land outside of the cottage. They took turns putting their hands on each other's shoulders, passing information. I could always run away for a while to catch on fire, me said tonelessly. No, Jessica and Billy said together. Me laughed. Billy stood in between the door and me. I hope they didn't see you laughing. Your talking seems to freak people out, Billy said. I think they're a little more freaked out about the pile of decapitated people lying around outside, me answered him. The flaming beasts took out their swords and came to the door. I don't mean to interrupt right now, but me has a point. You have to do something with the bodies. A normal flaming person would consume the losers of a battle, Jessica said. Right, you're right, Billy said as the first flaming beast rushed inside the room. Billy moved quickly to meet him in the doorway. Their swords collided and Billy dodged a vicious snap of the flaming beast's jaws. I don't want any more people inside of me, though, Billy said to Jessica as he kicked the flaming beast back outside the door. Whatever, Billy. Stand right next to the opening so they can't get more than one past you. Make sure you're far enough from the door to use your sword, Jessica coached, and Billy complied. Fuck this first guy. He thought he could bite my head off, Billy said, lowering his sword. He beckoned for the beast to come at him. The flaming beast ran at Billy with his sword high in both hands. Billy caught the sword mid-strike with his bare hand and pulled the beast close before stabbing him in the gut with his sword. Billy dodged another snap of the beast's jaws before pulling out his sword, stepping back and severing the beast's head with a downward chop. The flaming beast's body crumbled in front of the door, and Billy left it there. The other beasts gathered in front of the cottage, began to touch each other's shoulders. I hope you're not taking this lightly, Billy. I can't tell because what you do seems to always give positive results. Don't underestimate the beings that became beasts, Jessica advised. One of the flaming beasts put its sword away and began to slowly walk towards the door that Billy and the headless body occupied. Billy watched with his guard down as the flaming beast grabbed for the body and consumed it. The beast blinked and then released red lightning up towards the star. The flaming beast then walked back to the group, and they all touched shoulders again. I can't spend much longer in this cottage, Billy yelled at them inside his own head. His mouth opened and sprayed a thin stream of lava in their direction. The lava fell 3 feet short of the group, but they did seem to take offense to the gesture. Billy lifted his sword as they began to charge the door. Let's do this, he said to himself. The first of the 5 flaming beasts slammed against Billy without striking or swinging his sword. They're trying to get you out of the door, Jessica informed Billy. The second flaming beast pushed against the first and then squeezed through the door. Billy stepped back and swung his sword in a circle to create a perimeter around himself. The first flaming beast was pushed back out the door. The second flaming beast was caught between the sword and the wall of the cottage and was split in half. Damn, that's effective, Jessica said amazed. Billy stepped out of the cottage and stood in front of the door. There are still 4 of them, and it's taking forever killing them one by one, Billy said to Jessica. Don't endanger me, Billy, Jessica warned. Billy could see the flaming woman me had warned him about, watching from behind the cottage. The 4 flaming beasts spread out and approached Billy with their swords ready. Billy slashed and hacked with his sword as if he were fighting shadows. The flaming beasts paused and looked at each other. You confused them and me honestly, Jessica said. I'm fucking bored. They are into me. I'm not into them, Billy complained. Well, actually, they're into me, Me said in her toneless voice. She laughed at her own joke. Billy's flaming body made an audible groan, and he threw his sword at the flaming beast furthest to the left. The sword went into the beast's head, and the flaming beast crumbled onto the ground. The other three beasts rushed in to attack, and Billy stood there waiting with his guard up. The beast furthest to the right swung first. Billy dodged and let the beast go past him. The one to the left swung next, and Billy dodged again, this time grabbing the beast by the arm and swinging him into the beast that was now behind him. He tripped them both. The beast that was in the middle jabbed his sword into the middle of Billy's back. Billy felt the full effect of that pain, but it didn't slow him down. He backflipped and, while upside down, grabbed the beast's head and broke its neck. When he landed, the flaming beast was crumpled under him. He pulled the sword out of his back and threw it at the flaming beast who had gained his balance the fastest. The flaming beast protected itself, and the sword sank into his arm. There were now two flaming beasts between Billy and the cottage door that Me was inside. The beast to the right of Billy got up and regained its balance as the beast to the left pulled out the sword from its arm. Billy took that moment to run and get his sword from the head of the incapacitated flaming beast. The flaming beast on the right looked behind him through the door at Me, who smiled and waved at him. Billy threw his sword at the head of the distracted flaming beast. The sword was deflected by the flaming beast on the left sword, swiftly moving in defense. Billy's sword flew up and off to the right. Billy picked up a discarded sword from the coal-like ground and threw it towards the middle space between the two beasts. This time, both flaming beasts were paying attention. They both made defensive swings towards each other. The flaming beast on the left was quicker than the one on the right. He parried the flying sword, and it lodged itself under the jaw of the flaming beast to the right. This happened at the same time as the flaming beast to the right stabbed the flaming beast to the left in the side. The flaming beast to the left fell to a knee, while the flaming beast to the right crumpled onto the ground. Billy walked up to the last flaming beast and ripped off his head. He then picked up his sword and turned to Me. "Let's get out of here, Me," he said, sounding tired. Me walked out of the cottage and pointed behind Billy. Billy turned to see another flaming beast standing at the foot of the furthest body on the coal-like ground. "Is that the flaming woman who was watching?" he asked. "Yes, it is," Me said. The flaming beast drew his sword and threw it at Me. Billy stepped in the way, and the sword went through his gut. "Fuck," Billy whined. He pulled the sword out and stepped to the flaming beast with his and her sword in his hands. The flaming beast picked up a sword from the ground and charged at Billy. Billy swung his right sword, and it was blocked. The flaming beast spun to the left and swung for Billy's head. Billy blocked it with the left sword and stepped back. The flaming beast stabbed for Billy's heart, and Billy parried with his left before returning the stab motion and landing his blow in the beast's chest with his right. Billy let go of the sword. It was her sword he stabbed her with. He swung, attempting to decapitate the flaming beast. The beast blocked and stepped towards Billy as she pulled the sword out of her chest with her free hand. Billy tripped over one of the bodies that was lying on the ground. Shit! His sword fell out of his hands and he hit the ground. He was sitting up with the flaming beast over him. She raised both of her swords. "Help him, Me!" Jessica screamed to Me, who was standing to the side watching. The flaming beast swung both swords at Billy's neck like scissors. Billy fell on his back, dodging the blades. Me walked towards them. Billy tried to back away as the flaming beast got ready to swing again. The flaming beast swiped her right sword at Billy's midsection and her left at his knees. Billy yelled in pain as flames spilled out his wounds. "Eat that bitch," Jessica screamed to Me. Me lifted off the ground and flew to the flaming beast with her hand out. The flaming beast stepped back and swung her right and left swords at me, who flew around them. Billy watched as me put her hand on the flaming beast's head and lifted her off the ground. Me lifted the flaming beast up as she tilted her head back. Then she dropped the flaming beast into her mouth, swords and all. A flash of blue lightning struck me as she closed her mouth. Me looked around, surprised. "What was that?" she asked in a toneless voice. Billy watched from the ground, and Jessica was silent. Me flew to Billy and helped him up. "You were just struck by blue lightning. The only blue lightning we've ever seen or heard of, and also it seemed to come from up to down instead of the normal down here to up to the star," Billy said, looking at me.